of the album, right? And I just got to messing around. So, um, you know, I'm just messing around, and I had this track, um, and I was just thinking of it because I needed one more track to finish the album. But I've been busy with the movie, which is done. Then I've been trying to promote the EP Chronicles album, but I just stay banging stuff out when it comes to me. I just come in here and do it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
We live now, bro.
yeah,
We live on the visual tip.
that's
We've been
cool.
live
That's
on
cool. No doubt.
WR Radio app. If you want behind the scenes, exclusive behind the scenes vibes, chopping it up with one of the biggest bosses in the game, ask your auntie, ask your Miami, ask your niece. If you want to catch those behind the scenes conversations, you see the hallway on the wall. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all download the WR Radio app, man. You can catch all the behind the scenes action. You feel me? But I'm just sitting here having a behind the scenes conversation. I was lucky enough to catch up with one of my mentors in the game, somebody that I go to for advice, personal, professional, spiritual, intellectual. So I say, yo, I need to share these type of conversations with the world. You know what I mean? And then also my guy got a lot of dope stuff already out, and a lot of dope stuff coming down the pipeline, man. So yo, Mr. C-N.I.L.E in the building. Give him a warm WR Radio welcome. You know what I mean? And this will be available
Yes, sir.
everywhere though too, bro. Spotify, YouTube, Pandora,
Absolutely.
Deezer. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
first and foremost, yo, yeah, just introduce yourself, yo, let them know about your social media and all that, where they can, subscribe to the movement. You know what I mean?
Got you. Yeah, well, for those who don't know me, most people do, but for those who don't, my name is Mr. C now, Notorious Lyrical Expression. I'm the actual founder, CEO, music producer of my independent label, New Level Entertainment. And New Level Entertainment, as Greg Bugsy we've been fam for like almost a decade now. So New
Fact.
Level is a entertainment, is an independent label based out of Baltimore, Maryland. And what makes us different from other labels is that we're the only label that actually helps other people create labels. So, you
Mm.
know, we have our own label and we help like the artists who are already rocking, that's ready to take that business level step. We help them create labels. I've helped like my homie, shout out to True Bill Rico Reed, I help him create
True,
True Bill
Bill.
Entertainment. I help him create True Bill Entertainment, and me and Rico go way back. We've been knowing each other since we was like 10 from around White Lock. You know what I'm saying? Madison
Shout out to
Park
White
Murder
Lock
Mall.
right there. That's what's up.
And yeah. So, and I also wanted to shout out G Major from Arson's Camp Entertainment, ACE. He's put out some of the most incredible local artists around. You think of C Notes, you think of Draco Man on Fire, just to name a few. And you think of my cousin Street Certified Goon. He was starting with Arsonist Camp, but then he went to Gritty Gang. Shout out to
Goon is your
old Goon
cousin,
and
man.
Gritty
That
Gang.
explains a lot, man. That explains a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah,
man.
yeah. He my little cousin. He the wild side boy. He the wild side, but he done chilled out a lot and matured. And like I said, I think God actually you know worked with him. And I always been in his corner as his big cousin. So he was always gifted with the music, and he did his thing. People know him. And I think he done grown and matured a lot from the streets and everything. So I'm proud of him. And I tell him every time I get a chance to see him. And of course, I got to shout out my man 9410, from 9410 Music Crew. He's like one of the most
Mm-hmm.
like not necessarily underrated locally, but internationally, he is dope. And he's got stuff overseas. So I definitely wanted to shout out all the producers and everything. And of course, my man DJ Fella, he's the president of New Level Entertainment, and of course, your fam, Dana Mouse Man Smith, the legendary man. He's the exec vice president of New Level, and I want to shout out my
Godfather.
brother
Shout out to the
Herb.
golf.
Yeah,
So you got
absolutely.
some of that.
Yeah.
So let's speak on that a little bit. So one of your executives is, out that thug life tree. You know what I mean? So is there any comparisons between what y'all doing with New Level Entertainment and you know, and a thug life movement that, you know what I mean, that y'all out of that tree, you know what I mean? So is there any comparisons or anything y'all learned from, you know,
Well,
y'all
it's
history back
funny.
then
See,
running
the
around
thing
with Pac
is,
and all that?
right. See, in all reality, see, with Mouse, you know what I'm saying? Dana, but Dana Smith with Mouse, the thing
Mouse Man.
is
Make sure
that,
y'all Google that too. Tupac and Mouse Man. That's all you gotta do. They
yeah,
got
yeah, yeah,
songs together and all that.
right. Yeah,
So
and let them know
that's
the,
one of the executives
yeah,
and the artists over there at New Level Entertainment. Don't get it fucked up. You know what I
absolutely.
mean?
And see
Them
what
niggas
it
had to sue
is,
Eminem and all that shit.
right. And you know what it is though, man? I'm gonna tell you. I think that as far as the comparison between like the movement that Mouse did in the beginning with Pop and what I'm doing, it's funny because I created New Level, you know what I'm saying, in 2004. I created New Level Entertainment. But Mouse has been knowing me since I was, for those who don't know, I'm a Christian hip hop artist, but I started as a secular artist and I became a Christian hip hop artist in like 19, no, about 2005. I became a Christian hip hop artist, but I still do, songs with secular artists. It's just that I kind of control the narrative of what we talk about. But in reference to your question about, the comparison between like the era that Mouse was in industry wise and what New Level is now, really there is no difference. Mouse really put me down with the game before I created New Level Entertainment. So I was on my Master P Independence in like 98. You know what I'm saying? Creating New Level Entertainment. I just never really got it official until 2004 because I was kind of doing the building blocks of the business. But as far as like Mouse, see, Mouse, he stayed Mouse. He's solid. He was the same way he was when he was with Pac. And I didn't know nothing about Pac. Pac used to rap with my cousin and them, and that's how I end up knowing Mouse. You know what I'm saying? And funny
Okay,
story,
okay.
funny story is Mouse actually came through my spot maybe about 25 years ago. He came through my spot because he had a cousin. He had a cousin. Um, Mouse had a cousin named Muko, right? And Muko was a part of a rap group called Street Raiders. It was him and Sean Don, you know what I'm saying? And Muko is Mouse's cousin, but I didn't know that. And I also didn't know that Muko was Jazz from Drew Hill cousin. So it was kind of weird because Muko and Jazz look just alike. But I didn't realize that Mouse and Muko was cousins. And the crazy part was Mouse, when he saw me, he didn't realize that I was my cousin of Brad and Chad, who they all used to rap with Tupac when, Mouse was on Cater and everybody was around 41st, around that way. So it was just weird that it was like a divine intervention for us to meet, even though Mouse already knew about. You know what I'm saying? But Mouse was on the road with Pac and stuff. So bottom line is that it was already like we was family because literally we were. We just didn't get to see each other, kind of like the family reunions. You know what I'm saying? That's down south, and you see your family from the other parts of the city, but you never get to
Yes, sir.
see them. You know,
Yes, sir.
so it was dope, man. But now New Level, we've always been our own entity, always had our own lane, doing our thing, and I guess speaking in the spirit of the everybody celebrating, the anniversary of Pop. Unfortunately, when he died, I know Mouse, he takes that kind of hard because, he was there for that situation for all of it brewing up. And he knew the real side of Pac and stuff. And what he told me a lot was, I would be in the studio doing stuff like I'm doing now, and he would holler at me, come on through, you know, and he told me, he said, man, you know what? He said, you remind me so much of Pop with all your albums, not only that you do, but he said, and this scared the hell out of me. He said, really, I think you would have been what Pop should have been if he was still alive, as far as how far I've gotten creating the label, the integrity of what we do, you know what I'm saying? And the direction, kind of that was where Pac was headed, from my understanding, with the Amaro Records. You understand what I'm saying? And everything before he got killed. So he started wising up. And I think Mouse, really saw that in me, even though I was me. You feel what I'm saying? As Bonner's being wild and being all out there, I think Pac was just around the wrong element. And for me, I'm the opposite. I don't let the element of who I'm around affect me, because I've been around the G's and the gangsters and the thugs and everything. And see, ideally, for me being a Christian hip hop artist, I actually would minister to my homies. You know what I'm saying? And being who I am as a solid dude, even with somebody like Rico, and my cousin Goon, like I say, for me, I'm just that solid dude. So right now, I'm an OG to most people. And I'm kind of glad I'm in the position I'm in now, because most of
Triple
the dudes
OG.
that was in that game, most of the dudes that was in that game, most of them got bad deals. Some of them got mixed up with the wrong dudes who put money into the wrong things, trying to, do what they do. But, I'm not one to judge. I just compete game because I learned it, from my big homie, God bless his soul, man. My big homie Birmingham Dre, he lost his life in Vegas, unfortunately, but he's the reason that I learned about the down south hustle and the independent grind and stuff like that. So he showed me a lot. And for me already knowing what I knew from Mouse, you know what I mean? I just went on and said, the industry is just shady, it's crazy. And I was like, I ain't trying to be in those situations where a promoter ain't paying me my money. You know what I'm saying? I said,
That's
at
bad
that
business.
point, and I said at that point, I might as well go ahead and create my own label. If I got to do a show, I get an owner of a venue. You know what I'm saying? And I'll just do everything there. And we just kind of do good business. That's the difference between New Level and all the other labels. We do good business, and we put people down with the game to let them be successful. I don't try to keep people from being successful. God forbid if you got some bread and you got a label and you good and you solid, and I think that's why I have a very strong reputation with a lot of the majors in Baltimore City and a lot of people out of state. If they hear my name, Mr. C-N.I.L.E, they're like, yo, that's a solid dude. And your name carries weight when you're a real one, especially when you're not out on them streets. It carries weight with them real ones in the streets, and I let people know, man, we all human, we all people. It don't matter if we in the street or the studio or back in the street or either the church. At the end of the day, just like that the corona don't actually discriminate on nobody. They don't care about your status or nothing like that. And that's
Not
kind of
at
why I
all.
stay rooted in God, man. I stay rooted in God heavy. And the same thing with Mouse. And like I said, Mouse, ever since he became exec vice president of New Level, I told him, man, I said, you might as well be exec vice president, because in all reality, I do all the music and stuff like that. And Mouse exec produces, but Mouse is the only one out of New Level who's got industry experience. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's the fam. You know that, man. But there's really no difference between the thug life, when he was doing that, and people keep getting. Before the thug life, there was the black cotton. You understand? Pac was more on the conscious tip when he was with Mouse, and that was based on Mouse giving him the direction, keeping Pac grounded. You know what I mean? And Pac just really, unfortunately, he couldn't trust a lot of people, but Mouse was the only one who knew who he was, because he saw Pac grow up as a kid. And the thing is, he helped Pac through that whole ordeal when he was in Baltimore. You feel what I'm saying? So Mouse is so humble. The stories that Mouse will tell you, that he could tell you, he really don't like to tell people because he's so humble about it. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is, all the industry people know about these stories with Mouse, and he's still humble about it. They got people paying Mouse money to do interviews, but Mouse peep game. He peep game that people just trying to exploit the legacy of Pac by just talking about people who was with him. But Mouse just wasn't with somebody who was with him. Mouse was the reason Pac is Pac, from the perspective of Tupac starting out rapping in Baltimore. You know, and
Word.
it's a lot of history, and that's about Mouse, man. And I think it's just a divine intervention by God to have Mouse be with New Level, even though he's been with New Level the whole time, just like it's divine intervention for, you know, me and you to meet up, you know, when you got your hard body radio, now you got the rep fam, everything going. You see what I'm saying? It was just divine intervention. And I'm grateful and humble because now look at you now, bro. You know what I mean? You got one of the biggest podcasts, if not the biggest worldwide. You know what I mean? And I'm humbled to
Yo,
be able to say that I know you. And I'm more humbled that you even hit me up for an interview, man. Because you know I don't do a lot of interviews. I stay in the studio.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, you know, I appreciate that, bro. I'm humbled myself, man. We far from the biggest in the world, but as far as our whole platform, man, I'm proud of everybody. Shout out to C-N.I.L.E, DJ Diamond
Absolutely. Shout
K,
out to Ty.
you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying, DJ Cornbread,
absolutely.
Morgan Brittany, DJ TV, K Mills, Miss Story, Lindsay Marie, Nine Nasir, shout out to Rick Bull, Mansa Musa. So it's a whole team, man. DJ Fox. But yeah, man, as far as I'm just humbled, man, to be able to spend time with you brothers, man. You, Mouse, man, the whole New Level entertainment, man. I remember I could tell you a story one time. You was there for me in the ninth inning, man. My project was supposed to drop on inauguration day. This was The Wait Is Over 3, the re-election. You know what I mean? This was Greg Bugsy, the re-election. That was out of that Bugsy for President series. You know what I'm saying? You had
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I did remember that.
that
That
was
was
the
dope. I
follow-up.
remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, that was the follow-up to the Bugsy for President. It was the re-election. You know what I mean? It's dropped on it was supposed to drop on inauguration day for Obama's re-elect, his second term. And then, my engineer flaked on me, whoever I was working with at the time. I really didn't really even
Oh
have a
yeah,
stand-up person. I
I
was
remember
working.
you telling me that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had
You
recorded
had
at
a
a.
rough situation. You had a rough
Yeah,
situation
man.
back then,
Man, it was tough for me,
and
and
I
you was
remember
there
that.
for me, man. Yo, I remember I
Yeah, you
brought
know
my
what?
your camera clear as hell now. Your camera cleared up too. Your camera, it must have had the
Yeah,
auto
yeah.
zoom.
You know what?
It probably had the
I don't
auto
hardly
zoom.
ever use it because I ain't never doing no
Right.
interviews.
Yeah, I can see the
You know?
plaques and all that now. It cleared up. But
Yeah,
yo, you was there
yeah.
for me in the ninth, and not, to make a long story short, yo, my project was supposed to drop on inauguration day 2013 when Obama started his second term. My project was called The Re-Election. And then the person I was supposed to have mix and master for me before I took it over there to Old Goon and them, an architect, because they was making my CDs for me. They was mass producing my joint.
Right,
Before I took it over there, I needed to get it mixed and mastered right, all the levels. And you was there, I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? Bang. You know what I mean? We was already family, but we never had worked, like that. And then,
right,
for you could have been like, yo, I'm booked, I'm busy. Like, no, it's too short notice. Bro, you was
right,
there for me that day. It was during the day too, you know what I'm saying? Like, boom,
right,
mixed my joint down, had my joint sounding real crispy. And the re-election
right.
should be available somewhere. Some of the songs is available actually on SoundCloud. So if y'all want to listen to that, Greg Bugsy, the re-election, dropped 2013. Mixed and mastered by none other than Mr. C-N.I.L.E, man. You was there for me. And then another story, yo, what a lot of people don't know, I'm gonna put it out there, yo, like the day my stepfather passed away, yo, we rushed to the emergency room. And
Yeah,
Mr. C-N.I.L E was right there, worked in the emergency room. It was like an angel
yeah.
the whole time. It was a set. I'm like,
You
yo,
know
yo was
what?
a that's you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's a guardian
yeah.
angel, big bro. You know what I mean?
And that was crazy because Bugs, it was crazy because um, you know, it's funny that you say that because you know how sometimes, you know how in hip hop, you know, people got this persona about being one person in hip hop. And then when they on a government 9 to 5, they kind of totally different. See, the thing is that all of the nurses and everybody, and for everybody don't know, I'm a nurse in ICU tech in a cardiology unit at the University of Maryland Medical Center. So the
Yes,
thing
sir.
is that when people see me, like here, like there's people on my job who know I got a record label and know I rap, but they only know because somebody else told them. And when they say, yeah, you don't know who that is, and I'm so humble at work, people are like, why are you still working here? You got some great stuff. And I keep on telling them, I said, you know what? I said, the music that I do ain't about the industry or the come up or the bag. It's about the legacy of leaving something behind that you do. It
Yes,
ain't no
sir.
different than jazz musicians who actually play in the jazz era. They go to the nightclubs and stuff like that. Them dudes was construction workers. They was them kind of dudes, and that's how I am. And the funny thing is that about that story, and like I said, it was really kind of tough for me to realize that that was your fam. But even when I didn't know, you feel what I'm saying? It was crazy because I still treated them like I would treat any other patient, like it was my family. And it just go to show you how God works, because you never
Yes,
know
sir.
who you're gonna come across in the hospital, and industry people be there, family of industry people, and see the fact that you came up there and I knew it was you. It was just reassuring to me that I could reassure you, because that was a
Man,
stressful
that was yo, that was that
situation.
man, listen, man. God, yo, I don't know if what people personal beliefs is, and that's all good, you know
Right.
what I mean? But I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell
God
you
is
right there
good,
that
man.
for
I tell
me, that was like a video game. Like you have a, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a tumultuous time at a video game, and then you find like that magic, whatever, to warp you to another few levels, or just to help you
right,
get through that level. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
okay, wow, I'm glad I found this green mushroom. I needed that extra man right there, or else I wouldn't
right,
even been able to beat the game, or I wouldn't have been able to beat
right,
that level. I met that
right,
person in that video game, bro, and that
right,
was you right. Like of all the people in the world, you know what I'm saying? My stepfather, boy, he rushed to the emergency room. He ended up passing away. This was 2019. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Devastating for me. But the comfort was that, yo, now of all the people in the world, you
right.
was probably
And
one of the handful. It probably could have been 3 or 4 people in the world that would have been now. Could have been a lot of people there, and but the top 3 or 4
right,
people in the world, like, yo, that's
right,
crazy. You work of all the emergency rooms you could have worked in Baltimore City,
right,
of all the
right. And
shifts,
see,
of all the hours, you could
yeah,
have been around the corner,
right,
and I would have never even.
right,
But you right here working on my pops, like, bro, and they was
right,
trying their best, but he was already, you know what I mean, whatever,
right,
whatever. But
right. Yeah.
that right
And
there stick with
I,
me. That's like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yes,
But you know
sir.
what? But you know what's funny? It reminds me of I saw this video clip with Kobe, right? He was getting
Mhm.
interviewed because they were showing some highlights of Kobe, and he was getting interviewed with Steve Smith, right? And
Okay.
Steve Smith asked him about God, right? You know what I'm saying? And you know how
Okay.
sometimes when it's kind of a loaded question that you ask about God, when you see somebody as talented as Kobe,
Mhm.
Kobe said something absolutely profound. He said, man, and Steve Smith asked him, well, what is it about God? You know what I'm saying? And Kobe said, God is great. He said, don't
Yes,
get no
sir.
simpler than that, bro. And Steve said, what you mean? He said, look, he said, and Steve said that after Kobe said, look, God is great. It ain't no simpler than that. Kobe ain't saying nothing after that, but Steve was trying to get more out of him. So, but everybody believes in God or whatever the case is. How can you tell?
Mhm.
So Steve was asking him kind of a loaded question like that. And Kobe said this. He said, bruh, he said, God is great. That's all you can say. He said, you don't know how great God is until the cross you got to carry, you can't carry it no more. And then God comes and carry you and the cross that you got to
Mhm.
carry. He said,
Yes, sir.
that's the only time you're going to know that God is great. And man, it's stuff like that that lets me know it's confirmation from God that even the most industry people know God. You understand my point? And it's
Yes,
not
sir.
about
Yes,
the
sir.
religious aspect or nothing like that. It's about really understanding for yourself. God is not somebody you can just think because when you hear about the Bible, it says his ways are our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. And that's true.
Mhm.
But we can know who he is. We just may not understand him. But that's where faith come in. You feel what I'm saying? And I think
Mhm.
that situation with your step pops and stuff like that, that was just confirmation of your faith, but it was also confirmation of mine that what I'm doing in that hospital really mattered. And
Yes,
with
sir.
me being a solid dude like I am doing the music, it all ties together because that's how relationships go. Business
Mhm.
relationships, personal relationships, and everything. And people need to be careful because they don't understand that a lot of people that you think you work with making money with, you could be a millionaire they not necessarily the people that's a blessing to you. They could just be tools to test you to see what happens when those people flip on you. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, man. You know, it's real though. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Wow.
That was deep right there. All money ain't good money. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that business deal that didn't work out for you, or that record deal
Right.
back in the day that you wish you would have that might not have been that path that you. It might have been a
Right.
blessing in disguise. You know, like me personally, I tell you,
Absolutely.
there was a lot of stuff I prayed and wished for when I was a kid that I'm glad ain't gonna come to fruition, because I'd have been under the jail. If I'd have got a
Absolutely.
$25 million deal for the whole rep fam like I wanted back in the day, man, I would have,
Right.
or I would have squandered that money. You know what I mean? Or I would have
Right.
gambled and invested wrong in that money. I didn't know nothing about half the shit I know now. You know what I mean? As
And
approaching
I want to
40
say,
old.
man,
You know what I
I
mean?
want to
So it's a
shout out.
blessing.
Yeah,
It
I
ain't
want
no
to shout
rush for
out
the bucks,
everybody.
man. You know.
Yeah, I want to shout out everybody. And it just came on my mind, man. I just want to shout
Yes,
out
sir.
everybody who's mourning the passing of the late great actor Michael K. Williams, man. You know, he actually passed in his Brooklyn home from what I heard in the news, and it was based on drugs, man. And the scary thing about that, bro, is he had just not too long ago did a tribute to DMX at DMX's funeral. You know what I'm saying? And you know, of course, DMX's spiritual brother, but Michael K. Williams, nobody ever saw that coming, man. You know, and I just wanted to acknowledge that because, you know, there's so much, you know, anxiety, depression, and people who are literally taking their lives, man, in this pandemic, you know, and that's why it's very important to reach out to people when you don't hear from them for 1 or 2 weeks or something. You know, hit them up on Facebook, you know, reach out to people, because to me, that's God testing everybody to see who's got real love for who when they can't benefit from reaching out, you know. And you know me, you know, you got my number. Call me anytime. You don't have to call me
Yes,
for
sir.
months at a time. But you know, when you call me, it don't take nothing for me to call
Listen,
you
bro,
back
you always
if I don't
return
pick
my
up right
call,
then and there.
man. You one of the most
Absolutely.
professional. You're one of the best, pleasant people to work with, man, Mr. C-N.I.L.E. I advise people to
Appreciate
reach out.
that.
Yo, let them know about some of the services you got for the folks, though. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we spoke
Yeah,
about the mixing and mastering. You know, let them know about the
right,
producing, everything. How, you know,
right.
tell them how we can get money together. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, basically, a lot of people come to me, you know, like the new level, you know, and production right now, everybody's got a studio in their house. And some of these young dudes are doing dope music, and shout out to the young ones. It's keeping them off the street. Like I said, shout out to Old Boon Gordy with Beats Not Bullets, him, the homie Damon Blue, you know, Dream, big music group. You know, they've been doing stuff for the city and everything. And for me, you know, I'm just the cat that's teaching cats about the business. If they want to get into this, I'm teaching them about the business. And I'm also teaching them that they don't have to take no penitentiary chances or no kind of crazy deals if they trying to do their independent music. I teach them that their music is intellectual property. I teach them about their publishing. I teach them about getting their ASCAP, the BMI, the IRC codes, and I teach them how they can own all that stuff. And I teach them how easy it is to do, because when you talk to them, they'll hear it, but it sounds like college material, when in reality, it ain't nothing different that you can look up on YouTube. And I try to show them the simplistic side of how easy it is. And I think the challenge is, you know, as well as me, I think when people see stuff as easy to do, they don't seem to value it because it's easy. You know what I'm saying? They don't seem to value it
No, sir.
because it's
No,
easy.
sir.
So at the end of the day, I educate people, man. And when it comes to music production, dudes that want to come through, like, it's funny. I just took my car to the auto shop, right? And I was getting my motor mounts fixed. And here's how God worked. Yo, the mechanic that's in there turned out to be a rapper. And he saw my actual hat. And he stepped to me and he was like, "Hey, man, I see your hat. You do music, man?" He said, "I do a little something too." But he didn't know I had a record label. You feel what I'm saying? And me and him got to talking. He said, "Man," and here's my honest to God, Bugs. He said, "Bro, you changed my life today." He told me that. because
Word.
I told him I'm gonna get him in the studio, help him out. He got a few joints on iTunes, right? Dude name is Doug. I don't know his rap name, but government name is Doug. But real cool brother, man. You know, came from the street, you know, and got a legit job doing auto mechanic work. And I told Joe, I said, I'm thankful that you doing this, man. And he said, I still do the rap and everything. And I told him I'll go ahead and help him out, help him work on his EP. And see, that's what I kind of do as far as, you know, services. You know, some people do services kind of like the factory, you know, running beats, giving people beats. To me, I do music like art here. I don't just give beats
Yes,
to
sir.
everybody. I talk to
Right.
people and I see where they at. I want them to know that the New Level Entertainment production is special. Like most people don't know that I produce house music. I've been producing house since 2006. You see what I'm saying? And the bottom
Yes, sir.
line is that we just did a movie documentary called House Nation, the Charm City Era, the first official documentary movie that Baltimore's ever released, got released here at New Level Entertainment. And we shouted out all the DJs and everything. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just in the studio, just talking about the nostalgia of, you know, Baltimore house music culture. I'm not the all and be all when it comes to house because really, you know, I'm all about hip hop, you know, but again, house music changed my life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And I learned about that in the hip hop era. So bottom line is we not only do the music production, but we do film production as well, New Level Film and Media. And we also help people write books. You know what I'm saying? I just did the book, you know, The Grief of Good Men. You know what I'm saying? And actually, the funny thing with this is the book me and you talked about. And the album, the EP Chronicles, The Grief of Good Men, it derived from me writing this book. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's dope. So this is the first book that's ever going to be marketed with an actual album. You know what I'm saying? And it's dope. You know, so you know, it ain't much we don't do, but the main thing is, man, we try to let people know that if you got a dream or something of doing like anything in the entertainment industry, you know, like music wise, producing wise, even podcast wise. You know, we help people set up for podcasts. You know, we tell them what kind of equipment to get, what they need. So that's basically consultation. So it ain't much we don't do at New Level Entertainment here, man. My thing is, I'm just trying to help brothers out. Just trying to do something constructive where they can actually use it as a platform because that's what really this is about. It ain't about securing the bag. It's about making the platform. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is because the platform is the communication. And no matter what happens, we got a voice. And that's what New Level Entertainment represents.
Speaking of platforms, make sure y'all pick up that platform, WRF Radio. Get the official app. Go on your app store. Do that for me. It's free. Do that for a brother. I appreciate that 100. I'm saying a prayer for each and every one of my subscribers that got the app or whatever the case may be. Or if you don't want to you can listen anywhere. Go on Spotify. Get Up with Greg Bugsy. Not the playlist, the podcast. Get Up with Greg Bugsy podcast. I got the dope playlist on there too. If y'all want to rock with that. But just however y'all can support the wave, man, support the platform because like you said, it's not about the bag for me. If it was about the bag, I would just do my own podcast, Get Up with Greg Bugsy.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't try to open up a whole network. You know, that's basically what we evolved into is a WRF radio network where we have a team of creators. We try and win a championship over here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We try and win a championship over here. You know what I mean? So it's like we got a team of good players. And even if we don't win a chip, it might be other teams at the end of the year. It might be other platforms in our region, on our East Coast, in America, in the world that's bigger than us. But we can say, yo, we left it all on the floor doing dope content and we advertising dope products. You know, any of the products that we advertise on WR Radio is stuff that we actually use ourselves, somebody on the station, or we actually vouch for them and say, yo, this is dope. Trust me, I personally. So if you see, you know what I mean, and shout out to all our advertisers, you know what I mean? Because we're not trying to just be selling bull crap. We could do that for $1. We could sell anything on here, you know what I mean? All kinds of devilish stuff, You know, we do got the CBD, but we got the cannabis products, but that's medicinal. You know what I mean? Moses saw a burning bush. You know what I mean? Jesus turned water to wine. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
that's another story for another day. But I say all that to say,
Absolutely.
yo, I'm just reiterating what you were saying, big homie, is that it ain't about the money. If you're doing it for the money, the results gonna be funny. You gotta do it for the
That's
love, and the
right.
results will be above what you
Right.
even thought. Like, I
Absolutely.
love doing this. I
Absolutely.
want, I love doing this, bro. And then you get to chop it up with good people. Like we chop it up anyway. You know what I mean? For hours.
Right.
Like you got the book going on,
Right.
you got the movie
Right.
going on, you got the publishing,
Right.
beats. Like
Right.
pretty much any young person out there, or any, you ain't even gotta be young. You might be older than Mr. C now. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? But any person, period, if you doing anything with business, whether it's graphic design, you might say, hey, yo,
Right.
the people I've been working with my flyers, they ain't giving me the results. Or you trying to cover, you
Right.
designing your book cover, and you trying to get your stuff published and you don't know which route to go. Or you've been trying to put your music out with all these platforms, distro kids, CD baby, you don't know which one the best. Or they telling you need an ASCAP BMI, you don't even know what that is. I advise you reach out to all the beats. You buying all your beats off of YouTube, and you don't even know who own it. So then once that record go
Absolutely.
platinum, you don't got no money, or you end up owing somebody some money on what you thought was
Absolutely.
a hit record. When you can work with an
Right.
in-house producer that will customize you with your house music, is Baltimore club music. All these young guys, they jumping on Baltimore club music now. Go see Mr. C
Right.
now. He gonna put you in the right. He gonna say, "Yo, this was the thing in the '70s. We gonna see if we can get this cleared. They might
Right.
not even know about this. Let me reach out to Frank Ski." Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't. He gonna do the due diligence to make sure you can actually get your record cleared, so even glow, and then you find out Rod Lee or Tim Trees or somebody on it because they done took it from a club, or Miss Tony owned that publishing because they took it from an old Miss Tony track. Respect the dead.
Right.
You want to get your own stuff, you know. Shout out to DJ Diamond
Right.
K too. He produced a lot of club music
Right.
records. So you can go to
Absolutely.
Mr.
Yeah.
C now, say, yo, Mr. C now. And Mr. C now might go get something from our DJ Diamond K
Right.
collection. And DJ Diamond K, that's our morning show host. So that wouldn't be nothing
Right.
but a conversation. Hey, yo, you might want to clear this record. You might give him a couple points on the back end. And now you got
Absolutely.
a hit record on your hands, because EDM is nothing but Baltimore club music. Yo, can you speak on that a little bit? I know you got the movie coming out about the house music. Yo,
Yeah.
what is
Well, yeah.
EDM? EDM ain't nothing but Baltimore club music. What you think?
Well, you know what's funny? It's funny because the movie actually talks about that. And really, I think the issue is that with the House Nation, the Charm City era, it's funny that you say that because the EDM music is like electronic, dance music. And
Okay.
Baltimore Club, believe it or not, is kind of its own style because it uses like hip hop loops and phrases speeded up a lot. And we created a style. Shout out to you know, Unruly, Sean Caesar and Scotty B, for kind of creating that movement. And also shout out to the homie K Life, man. People be slipping
So
on
hold on,
K
time
Life.
out. Slow
You know what
down a
I'm
little bit.
saying?
Shout out to K Life. That's my brother K Life. I fuck with K Life. Yo, slow down for a second. Excuse my language. Slow down for a second, Mr. C now. So how was Baltimore club music created, yo, in your opinion? Take it from me, take us through that era. You know what I mean? Is that covered in the
Yeah, well,
movie
here's the
or
thing. No, yeah, yeah, no, all of that is in the movie, but the movie actually highlights how house music is different from Baltimore club. See, people don't understand that without house music, Baltimore club wouldn't exist. And that's the key. See, Baltimore club started when it came to basically Sean Caesar and when it came to
Mhm.
Scotty B. But you also got to remember, back in the day, all house music originated from Chicago. You see what I'm saying? And when you had old school artists like Fast Eddie, that was from Chicago, he created what's called hip house. You know what I'm saying? And hip house was just hip hop mixed with some hard club beats. So that's kind of where the start of Baltimore club music really kind of derived from, because we got a lot of Chicago influence down here and a little bit of New York influence, but mainly Chicago. So to answer your question, the Baltimore club really derived from house music. And house music I'm talking about is like the Chicago style house, the the move your body, the acid music, the jack your body, you know what I'm saying? The I'm hot for you and stuff like that. That was kind of known as warehouse music, which derived from Chicago, but Baltimore adapted it in the like late 80s, you know, because we get stuff later than up north 3 years after. So I just talk about that in the movie, but I talk about the Charm City era of that culture. And believe it or not, Baltimore club music didn't really come into play until the probably late 80s or early 90s, real heavy. You know what I'm saying? House music was before that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really what the movie talks about. And it's a very interesting, creative and wonderful, nostalgic movie. But like I said, again, to answer your question, Baltimore club music is way different than house music. House music was more for the mature crowd that was older in the clubs, you know what I'm saying? And it was more of a freedom and a vibe, you know what I mean? That was house music. House music wasn't so aggressive. House music is more soulful. House music has more singing into it. Sometimes even when it's instrumental, it has more of a feel of soul to it. Baltimore club music is more aggression, kicks, snares, party style. You feel what I'm saying? And that's really where it started. And you think about Frank Ski, Two Hype Brothers and the Dog, you think about Doo Doo Brown, and believe it or not, those kind of songs started from Luther Campbell. Shout out to Uncle Luke down Miami. You know what I'm saying? And really, that was an influence on Baltimore club. So here's the thing that people don't get. Baltimore club was created with a combination style of hip house in Chicago and Luke's Miami bass music down in Miami. Put those two together with the Baltimore swag to it, that's Baltimore club. You feel what I'm saying? And we got creative with it, like Unruly, you know what I'm saying? It was, you know, of course, Boo Man, DJ Boo Man, you know, a lot of people, DJ Class, you know what I mean? And that's what Baltimore club is. Shout out to, you know, K Swift and Godfather Reggie Reg, rest in peace to them both, you know. And believe it or not, man, that's why everybody's got to get this movie, House Nation, the Charm City era. What you just brought up will explain everything. And here's the actual kicker. I give a demonstration of how to make a live house beat live in the movie.
Word, that's dope. That's fire.
Absolutely.
So what's the, you know, not to give away everything, but what's the first step to making a house beat? If you could just give a little jewel to, you know, somebody.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. The first thing we do in a house beat is, first of all, first and foremost, there is no formula to making a house beat. It's a vibe. It's an energy. That's just like trying to teach somebody how to rap or freestyle. You feel what I'm saying? Freestyle is when you jump in a cipher, you just got to feel the vibe of the cipher. When you try to write a song, you can structure a song, but you can't structure a freestyle. Does that make sense? So house music is the same way. You actually have to get the vibe first, because you can do a 4-bar beat like boom, 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 boom. That's not house. That's just a beat. You feel what I'm saying? House music is where you have that vibe. And you know how some brothers, unfortunately, you know, they got to be in the studio, not you. They got to smoke to get inspired. Some of them do that though, because they in the zone to relax their mind. And sometimes that's how they come up with stuff. I come up with stuff naturally. I was the opposite. I couldn't, you know, have a drink and do a beat that I liked, because I could do a beat in my sleep and do a beat if I have a beer. But in order for me to have soul and real vibes to the beat, I had to have some pain. I had to have some drama. So house music is created from a vibe. It's just like you being in front of a keyboard. You start playing the keys, and those keys resonate with whatever sound hits your ear. And that's how house music is created. So essentially, there is no true formula for house music, but there is a vibe. And that's the thing. House music is a vibe. It's a spiritual vibe. It's a mental vibe. If you feel like you're down, you can have your house music sounding sad, depending on what it is. If you have your happy house, you'll hear the house keys and the piano keys. They'll sound upbeat and very happy, even if you have something like you in a trance. That's why they have that different type of house music all over the world. You have like you said, EDM house. EDM house is more of the electronica controlled house where it mesmerizes people, calculatedly. House music doesn't have to mesmerize people calculatedly. House music mesmerizes people from the spirit and the soul that moves them, that makes them feel good and uplift. That's the big difference, bro. You got to hear it. You got to hear
Have you
it.
ever
You'll
been to
know.
like any of them house music festivals or anything like that?
Well, you know what? I've been so busy with the movie and the studio that I haven't gotten a chance to get out, especially with the corona and stuff like that, right? I've been conscious of that because I work at the hospital, and by me working with those corona patients for real in the ICU, I'm very conscious that I don't kind of go out and about, even though I'm masked up, my boys are masked up. So to me, God just had me in a position where, I was feeling depressed at one time, feeling like I'm doing all this music, but I'm not promoting it. And I said, maybe if I go to the house festivals or something like that. And God just told me, you know what? You right where you need to be. He said, don't worry about gathering and going to the festivals to see what's going on. He said, people are going to those festivals because that's their outlet. That's their release of being able to go and fellowship. God said, your fellowship is with me in the studio, and people are coming to you through the music. So you're doing what you need to do. He said, don't worry about the festivals and stuff. Like, shout out to the Collective Minds Festival. They do it every year. You know what I'm saying? It's, homies like, DJ Tons, DJ Techniques, DJ Knuckles, my big homie DJ Rich. Shout out to my big homie, Charlie Crush. Shout out to DJ Mark Henry. All of the veterans, man. You know what I'm saying? And, like I say, with those festivals, I haven't really been to them, but my cousin and them, they go to them all the time because he's the type that's always out and about running around. I'm in here in New Level creating history.
You working, you being productive. You being productive.
Absolutely.
Okay. Speaking of the boys, what's up with the boys, man? Let us know a little bit about the young kings, the young heirs to the throne. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fellas, man?
Yeah. Well, my oldest is for most people who don't know, I got two boys, my pride and joy, God bless me with. My boys Jalen and Justin. Jalen is a senior at high school at Carver Vocational, and so is my son Justin. Shout out to both of them. They in their room right now. They playing Minecraft and watching YouTube videos, and they be watching the memes. It's funny. But man, it's been a blessing with them. They be doing wonderful in this pandemic. They're doing good grades. Shout out to Carver Vocational. They've been doing an excellent job with the social distancing and everything, the teaching, the counseling and everything. And my oldest son, Jalen, is autistic. So he's considered disabled. But, he's my son. And I don't look at him as having a disability. I look at the disability as a part of how God blessed him. It's just stuff that he may not be able to do, but his artistic gift, and by him being high functioning, he's a whiz. He has the same gift that I do with the graphic designing and everything. And my son Justin got the gift of music just like I do. He plays one of those fast games that's like it's like a Just Dance game, but it's a game where you hit the buttons with the arrows, and it's got like a little hip hop character, right? And he does beats and stuff, and it's real fast. And his coordination with it is right on time. So that's kind of their thing. So what I try to do is I look at what they do, and I don't try to push them in what I do. But when they were babies, I got video clips of them with my headphones on. You seen them at the studio, you know what I'm saying? When they was in diapers, because every time I got a session, they always got to be on my lap. And I was never the type to shoo my boys away. I set them on my lap, one of them on my other lap, and they got the headphones on while I'm mixing and mastering, and that's a beautiful, priceless memory and moment, man. And they're the ones who actually motivate me to do everything for New Level Entertainment that I do, because their gifts of what they do, they're going to be able to see what I've done. The music, they already know that. I got a song or two where my actual boys were little, and I actually had them on a microphone when I was recording the song, and I actually recorded them on one of my Christian hip hop songs, right? And it came out dope.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all the songs, everybody resonated to that song a lot because my son, Jalen, who's the autistic one, he was about 4. And, he couldn't talk, but he could actually remember the melody of stuff. So he was mumbling a rap chorus that I did, and he mumbled it with the right harmony, and he mumbled it on beat. So it was funny because I was amazed, and I recorded him with, you know what I'm saying, to do it because I thought it was fun. And sure enough, just that small element made the song banging. I got so much positive feedback from that song with just having my son on it. And see, those are unscripted, uncalculated moments that only God can ordain to let you know that sometimes what you define as a hit ain't always a hit until God touches
it. So he lay hands on it.
Absolutely.
That's deep right there, man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Deep, man.
Yeah, my boys, man. Yeah, you know what? I'm so humbled to see them grow into men. I still shave them. I get the trimmers and stuff. My oldest boy, he getting the hair on the sideburns. He getting the sideburns, and he comes to me and he want me to shave him with the trimmers. And you know what, man? There's no better feeling like that in the world, man. No better feeling at all.
Yes,
absolutely.
What's up with the book, man? Let us know about the book and where they can pick that up. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the book, The Grief of Good Men. Actually, I got 2 books. This is The Grief of Good Men, and I think the other one I have is The Storm of Deliverance that I did. That was the first one. I think The Storm of Deliverance. Yeah, this is The Storm of Deliverance. This is the debut book. I did this book in 2014. The Storm of Deliverance is basically just a book that talks about the connections between the weather, you know what I'm saying? The weather, storms, and it talks about that in connection with the 5 stages of dying. You know what I'm saying? So with the Storm of Deliverance, there's 5 categories of a storm. You got category 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Well, there's 5 stages of dying. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, right? So it's just ironic how there's 5 stages of dying and there's 5 storms. And the order of the storms increasing is the same order that God showed me that we go through the stages of dying. You know what I'm saying? So the Storm of Deliverance book is very powerful, man. And that was my first book. And the second book is the one that I actually wrote, just talking about men in general. Don't have to be black or white, just men in general. And it's called The Grief of Good Men for a reason, because the grief of good men is a title that talks about and actually amplifies every man's heart. You know what I mean? Every man has grief. Now, the funny thing is most women might be like, well, if he a good man, why he got grief? See, the grief is, coming from a G perspective, is that we're considered good, which means that we're decent. We're decent dudes. We try to stand upright, do everything we do. But the grief is trying to stay that way in this wicked, chaotic world where every devil trying to actually destroy, trying to keep your goodness and trying to maintain it. That's grief trying to do that, especially when we're supposed to be lifting each other up. But men as individuals, we always have this concept that we can't go to nobody. You know what I'm saying? And in most cases, we can't. We can't go to nobody but God. And even when we do go to God, you know what I'm saying? It's still grief for us because we got God in our hearts all the time, man. But the grief of good men is probably the most anointed book that God has allowed me to ever write, because it's a book that is for all ages, of boys to men. And it's not one of those books where it tells you, hey, be a man, do this and that or the third. We already men by design because God made us that way. The problem is we have so much grief in the world trying to become the men God wants us to be, you know. And this is not one of those instructional religious books. This is a real book that all men absolutely need to buy. They need to read it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a book that a woman who has a son needs to buy. She needs to buy this book. And I say in the Grief of Good Men book that this particular book is not meant for the women to use as a manual to try and destroy men. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm.
And the crazy part, the crazy part is this. Even if women do buy this book for their spouses or their boyfriend or whatever, God put a special anointing over this book so that if a woman tries to manipulate a man by getting them this book to change them, this book is what God gives them to let them know that type of woman who's trying to manipulate, as opposed to the woman who's trying to really love them and help them by giving it to them. You feel what I'm saying? So this is not a manual that's like a suicide or bomb manual. This is so anointed right here, man, that God has done so much.
Shout out to our sponsor right here. Somebody in a Facebook group, because if they comment in the group, it'll come out as Facebook user. We live everywhere though. Twitch, WRF Radio on Twitch, right. WRF Radio on YouTube. Get Up with Greg Bugsy, WRF Radio on Facebook. We live at different places. But somebody said, and please comment and let me know who this is. But somebody said you can't smoke weed while he talking about God. Shout to bangers.
Oh, let me. Can I answer that, Bug?
Official cannabis.
Yeah. Can I answer that for him?
Official cannabis sponsor of WRF Radio.
Yeah,
but
can I say something about the
burning bush, yo? Whoever said that? Oh, C-N.I.L.E.
Yeah,
C-N.I.L.E. said that. You
know what?
CBD even while you talk about God.
You know what? Hey, Buzz.
Listen, yo, Moses saw the burning bush. Go ahead, bro. Talk to Moses saw the burning bush.
Right, but let me say this, Bugs. Hey, check this out. Real quick, I was at G Major Studio with Arsonist Camp Entertainment. Me and my homie Nick Soprano. Shout out to Dominic Neesmith, aka Nick Soprano. You know, he took me over G Major's house, right? And I had met Draco Man on Fire for the first time, right? And we went over there to actually go over there because it was like New Year's Eve. We went over because they was doing something at the 5 Seasons, but they was pre-recording. G was doing some show CDs, right? So Nick brought me over there to introduce me to G. You see what I'm saying? I think me and G had already met, but Draco was there, and Draco was there. He was drinking, he was smoking weed, and see, I went over there, you know, and I was a Christian rapper at the time, like I am now. Well, this is the thing I remember. Draco was saying, right? Me and Draco got to talking, and mind you, this is my first time meeting Draco. You know, real down brother. Draco was like,
I got a Draco story. Go ahead.
Yeah. So with Draco, we was in the studio, right? With G, right? When G had the furnace. So we was in the furnace, and you know, G always kept his Amsterdam. He was adamant Amsterdam drink. You know, yeah. G was drinking his Amsterdam.
Time out.
Yeah.
Quick commercial. I had it though. I had DJ G Mazer DJ a few events for me, yo. And you know, it was at a bar for it. Had a liquor store, and then they had a lounge in the back. It was our friend's bar and grill out Essex. And I'd be like, yo, G Mazer, you get whatever you want, yo. You want a fifth or whatever. And yo, I asked for a fifth of Amsterdam. Yo need a new Amsterdam sponsor.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, that's G or Amsterdam.
The new Amsterdam. I ain't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That was G though. Yeah. But see, G is the type when he drank, he could produce and he ain't do nothing sloppy or crazy. But the bottom line was we were all there,
He's
right?
a big fella.
Yeah. And see, G, me and Nick was there. And I think, you know, Nick, like I said, he know I'm a Christian hip hop artist and stuff like that. But, you know, I remember Nick told me, because I think Nick had some, he might have had some, I don't know if he had some Remy or something like that with him, just a little small pint. and it was New Year's Eve. So what happened was, I took a drink with Nick, just celebrate New Year's because I was helping Nick do some stuff. So he took me to G Major Studio. So what happened was when I was there, I was actually talking to Draco about, because Draco asked me who I was and stuff. I said, yeah, man, I'm a Christian hip hop artist and everything, man, and I said, I was actually just talking, just being me. And somehow we got on the topic of God, right? Mind you, the whole furnace was full of weed smoke and everybody was doing their thing, but me and Draco was just rapping, right? And Draco said to me, I remember, and he was, he was nice, he was high, but he was still in his right mind. But he said to me, man, he said, yeah, man, he said, I grew up in the church and stuff when I was little and everything like that. And my mom raised me, with, God and stuff like that, man. He said, but I just ain't really, I ain't been to church or nothing like that and everything. And it sounded like he was kind of trying to justify to me like his faith, right? But what he said was, he said, honestly, man, this is what Draco said to me. He said, honestly, man, I don't really feel right, honestly, though, man, being high like this and talking about God, man. I don't really feel right? He said, I feel like I'm disrespecting. And you know what I told Draco? I said, Draco, I said, dog, God see all of us here. He see you here right now. I said, the fact that you're talking about him while you know you high is what God wants you to do. Because the fact that you showed some reverence for God, knowing that you was convicted, I said, God ain't judging you, man. I said, the fact that I'm here talking to you is probably God letting you know that he still loves you. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, Draco said that when he was hiding me. You feel what I'm saying? And at that point, with the comment, I know Ty was messing around though, but if somebody ever said that, you got to remember something, man. We are all sinners saved by grace. And the bottom line is a lot of people gonna keep on sinning. I got my struggles all the time. And I think the difference with me, as opposed to most Christian rappers and stuff like that, I don't flaunt my faith around. You understand my point? People come to me and know that I'm Christian, but at the same time, I bear my cross. You feel what I'm saying? And when I bear my cross very well to a point where I get to a point where I bear my cross. I tell people I go through this, I go through that, and really the grief of good men, that's what it talks about. It talks about all of the stuff that men go through, from, issues with women, sex, even if people talk about like, okay, do dudes watch porn like Kirk Franklin? It talks about all of those different struggles because in reality, it's crazy. Yeah. Because here's the thing though, man. The bottom line is that most men are too ashamed to talk about their struggles. But you got to only keep it G with people who are G. You can't be G with a lame because it's going to be too much weight for them to hold. So with me, I'm just a solid enough dude that I can, let people know that, hey, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. I was just talking to C-N.I.L.E about some of the stuff, and he knew what I went through with my divorce, how bad it was. I was at the pinnacle of doing some big moves for the label. The divorce took everything away, not from me, but it just destroyed my plan. You see what I'm saying? And really, the bottom line I'm making is that you can't really escape being who you are. So if you smoking weed and we talking about God, you understand my point? The people who judge you to say, hey, you ain't supposed to be smoking weed talking about God, think about this. There's people who having sex in the room.
Well, C-N.I.L.E's a judgmental prick anyway. You know what I mean? So
I know
C-N.I.L.E is an asshole like me. Subscribe to his YouTube. Yo, go to YouTube right now. Cause Face Up Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment and say, yo, you're an asshole. You mean to Greg Bugsy, everybody at WRF Radio. Mr. C-N.I.L.E said you're a piece of shit too. But yo, speaking of C-N.I.L.E, and I'm glad we got that brotherhood and that family over here. Yo, let us know about your podcast too, yo, Celebrity Chaos. Y'all can stream that now. We just put in Celebrity Chaos, Mr. C-N.I.L.E, and pick that up. You know what I mean? You ready to start on another season of that?
Yeah. Well, actually, I just finished the second season of Celebrity Chaos episodes, and basically, y'all inspired me. Like, really, it was you who inspired me to do the podcast, the audio podcast, because you've been doing it for years. And really what I did was I've been doing so many albums. I just took a break when I did the books. And after I finished
man,
the
that's
books.
humbling, man. I appreciate that, bro. Because you inspired me.
Did.
You know what I mean? So
You got me into it. But you know what
man.
my thought was? You know what my thought was? My thought was this. I got a whole studio. I got a big mixing board right here. And God just hit me with something. He was like, you know what? You can do a podcast if you want to. You know, he said, if you want to conversate and talk to people and everything, you can do a podcast now. He didn't tell me to do the podcast. He was just showing me that my studio for recording, mixing, and mastering can also double as a broadcasting studio. And I can record and pre-record everything. And I already do the music editing. So I do the podcast and I edit faster than most people who have their own podcast that need a team to do it. So I actually just messed around and did the WNLR New Level Radio Celebrity Chaos episodes, right? Where I just talk about celebrities and the topic that most people was talking about. Like everybody talked about like Bill Cosby and rape conviction. Everybody talked about Kanye and the slave things. Everybody talked about Ray Lewis and the murder charge. And I talked about a lot of celebrities. Basically, what I did was with the Celebrity Chaos episodes, I talked about topics that got talked about, but they didn't really get talked about. They just went over people's heads after the hype went down with those people. You see what I'm saying? So my podcast is just a refresher of celebrities that I just picked. And I mean, of course, I talked about R. Kelly. I talked about Jesse Smollett. You know what I'm saying? I even got some good parts of the podcast too for season 2. I talked about Alicia Curry, where she made the comments about how she was bored. You know what I'm saying? And she needed some attention and stuff like that. You know, there was a lot of.
I can't wait, I can't wait for season 2, yo. Every
Sunday,
season 1 p.m.
Season
Every
2 is gonna be
Sunday
up
1
real
p.m.
soon.
Yo, WRF Radio. Make sure y'all download WRF Radio right now and stay tuned and set y'all reminders to tune in every Sunday 1 p.m. right at the Sports Talk Sunday. Right at the Sports Talk Sunday, we're going right into Celebrity Chaos. Season 2 is already done. We about to start airing it for y'all, and you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man.
And that's good. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm gonna send it to you exclusive because I wanted to do that. That's why I didn't release it yet. I wanted to make sure I did it through your actual platform because the first one I did like solo on iTunes and stuff, but I wanted to give this one to you specifically so you can air it because it's kind of my homage to you for kind of being an inspiration to me for the podcast.
Man, listen, man, you already know how we rock and roll, yo. Mr. C-N.I.L.E, you know what I mean? So what about, if somebody want to get some beats from you, yo, what's the best way to contact, or they just want to get some consulting from you, book publishing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And some advice in general, how, what's the best way for people to get in contact with you, you know what I mean?
Well, basically you can go to the official website, like I said, mrcnile.wixsite.com/New Level 2018. We have everything, every page on there. We got the book publishing page. We got the music. We got the podcast there. We got the actual New Level retro house music page there. We got the New Level film and media page there. And we also, I didn't mention, we have the New Level clothing and apparel there. You know what I'm saying? And those are just the kind of little, just the t-shirt designs that I did. And that's on redbubble.com/New Level 2, and I got the acronym King clothing and apparel where it's all acronyms for all the zodiacs and the whole zodiac, so it's a lot of dope stuff, man. But everything is on the actual official New Level Entertainment website. And that's mrcnile.wixsite.com/New Level 2018, man. I got so much stuff all together that people can just go to a one-stop shop and browse through without feeling like they're getting spammed and getting bombarded with a lot of stuff because we live in a lot of fast age now. And I have it where people can come to you and check out what you got, man, and check out what I got. I don't like force-feeding people stuff. I like people to enjoy coming through my platform to look at what they like. If they feel it, they feel it. If they don't, at least I thank them for taking the opportunity to come to me because, like I say, you could have been anywhere doing anything else, seeing anybody. But if you came here to taking your time to hear me or listening to me, I'm humbled. I mean, to God be the glory for that. I'm happy that you just showed
That's
up.
real.
You know?
That's real,
Yeah.
man. That's real deal, man. That's real deal. Mr. C-N.I.L.E in the building, man. You know what I mean? Yo, plug the books one more time. Yo, plug the books one more
Yeah.
time.
Well, like I said, the books are you know, the books are The Storm of Deliverance. This is my first book right here. And this is actually on Lulu.com and Amazon Prime.com. And this is The Grief of Good Men, the most recent book. And the Grief of Good Men book is also a actual EP Chronicles album that you can actually check out on iTunes and everything. So you can get both books on Lulu.com. They do the physical copies of the books where it's print on demand. You go ahead and order your copy of the book. They print it for you and they send it right to you, no problem. You know, and like I said, y'all check out everything that we got to offer, man. But we got a lot of stuff that we working on
What's
coming
going
up.
on with
We
Mouse
got
Man? Yo, I know Mouse Man is one of the artists over there as well as the executives. Yo, what's going on with Mouse Man? I
no,
know he got
Mouse Man. Let me correct you. Mouse Man is the exec producer. He's not even an artist. He a producer here. You see what I'm saying?
okay.
And
Okay.
he's doing big stuff. Mouse. The funny thing is that Mouse is helping me working on these documentaries and docuseries. He's working on, and this is just an exclusive plug. Mouse is working on a docuseries called "What Hip Hop Taught Me." The 5 things that hip hop taught me, based on the 5 elements of hip hop. That's a dope thing. He's working on it as we speak now, but he's also got a couple podcast interviews. I know he's got to do one with Ty Hill. You know, he's been crazy busy trying to get stuff, you know, working and stuff like that. But he's also got the actual documentary called Survivor's Remorse, Success, Strife, and Survival. You know what I'm saying? And that's already in the works that I'm working on. So that's his official movie document that I'm working on. That's why I wanted to finish up the House Nation movie. So I'm working on Mouse's documentary movie now. And Mouse simultaneously is working on his book, Black Cotton, Success, Strife, and Survival. So, man, we working, man. And in the pandemic, I think it's perfect because we don't have to be out there running around. And I think God meant for all of this to come together like this because the pandemic is keeping everybody separate. Hopefully we spending that one-on-one time with God, you know what I'm saying? And for me, I'm just staying busy, but not staying busy just to keep my mind focused. I'm staying busy because it's God inspiring me to do some productive stuff that can bless other people. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's ill right there. Yo, salute family. Y'all appreciate everything. You know
No
what I mean?
problem, no
And y'all
problem,
definitely
man.
motivating. Y'all definitely motivating the middle-aged players because y'all the OGs. You feel me? So y'all double
Absolutely.
OGs. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
big homies
yeah,
still
yeah,
working.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Not resting
yeah.
on y'all
Still
laurels.
doing it,
Keep pushing out
right?
quality music, and that's motivating us,
Absolutely.
which in turn is we motivating the younger guys. It's the younger guys that might be, looking up to us or people my age, and it's good for us still to have mentors. You know what I mean? And it's good for us to still
Absolutely.
have
Absolutely.
consultants or
Right,
consigliaries, even if you think you're the boss or you think you okay, I'm a bossed up. I don't. It's still good to have a consigliere or a counselor or somebody that you can, you know what I mean? Because it's lonely at the
right,
top. You know what I mean? And it's always good
right.
to
But you
talk
know
to
what
a
I tell
boss.
people? I tell people, you can never be a boss until you bear your own cross. You know what I'm saying? And that's what
Mm,
being a boss really is. You got to bear your own
mm.
cross to be the boss. And the
Oh
bearing of the
man.
cross don't stop. The bearing of the cross
Oh
don't
man.
stop. And in all reality, listen, you can never be a
Mm.
boss until you bear your own cross. But the only reason you're able to bear your cross is because God already took that burden for you and he's carrying you, giving you the strength to bear that cross. So in reality, you're not bearing your own cross. God is bearing it for you through the strength he gives.
Yo, that was ill right there. You killed that, man.
That's
I'm
real
gonna
though.
tell you,
That's
you
real.
killed that, man.
That's real.
I'm trying to tell you. You know what I'm
Yep. Ain't no
saying?
shame.
Boom. Look,
Yeah,
now
ain't
you
no
gotta put
shame.
that on
Ain't
the
no shame
screen
in
right
my thing,
there.
man. Look,
We gotta put
look.
that on the screen
Jesus.
right there.
Yeah,
You can never be a boss
absolutely.
until you bear your own cross. Did I spell the bear right? Is it
Absolutely.
BARE or is it B
BEAR. BEAR.
R R?
Yep. You can never be a
R.
boss till you bear your own cross. Amen. Yep.
Got you.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah. Absolutely. Yep, I thank God, boy. Look, Jesus done did it, man. He done did it. He's still doing it, and people take it for granted, man. They think he's some kind of spook or some kind of figment of somebody's imagination. Yeah, when they get in that bind, they'll know. And I think that's the way God set it up, man. But it's okay, because everything worked good for the greater good of God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you, brother. That's what I needed today. Going into the fall, man. Mr. C-N.I.L.E step up my work ethic. You know what I mean? It's time for us to reap what we sow, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We done planted plenty seeds. You got the documentary trailer right now. Make sure y'all go to YouTube right now. Watch the trailer, man. Watch the trailer. You understand what I'm saying? What's that? House Nation, the Charm City
The Charm
area.
City area.
Just put that in on
Absolutely.
YouTube. Boom.
Yeah,
What's the
man.
YouTube channel, yo? What's the YouTube channel in case they
Yeah,
can't
the
find it, bro?
YouTube channel is New Level Film and Media.
Word. Make sure y'all go to get the book, yo. Pick up the book. Amazon. It's right there. It's no
Amazon
excuse,
and
yo.
Lulu.com. Yep, Lulu.com.
Yo, always a pleasure, man. You already know we're gonna chop it up, man. Shout out to you, Mouse Man, the Young Kings, everybody at New Level Entertainment. You understand what I'm saying? Yo, hard work and dedication. You know what I mean? Definitely prayers to everybody that's, going through something right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Through Corona and everything like that. Pick up the book, The Good Grief of Men. And it's for women too. Women, buy this for your son. Read it yourself. And don't use it to bash men, but use it to learn more about the man. You feel me? Pick up the book. If you're a fan of house music, you're a fan of Baltimore club music, watch the trailer. Subscribe to the YouTube for details and developments as far as the movie. If you like Christian hip hop or you like hip hop in general, stream the new project, which is titled the same as the book. You feel me?
Right.
EP Chronicles, first edition, The Grief of Good Men. You can stream the music. You might say, I don't really read books like that, or I ain't got time. Listen to the album and you'll still get it in your system. Mr. C-N.I.L.E, man.
It's powerful. It's powerful.
This is right here. This is family, right? Official WRF Radio family. Every Sunday, 1 p.m. Celebrity Chaos. You know what I mean? Set your reminder. Listen to the podcast. Get it that way. However you want to get it. Pause. You know what I mean? However you want to get served this knowledge and this good spirituality. And this could be your opening. You're going to find your own path. But Mr. C-N.I.L.E gonna give you that good alley hoop like Rajon Rondo. You know what I mean? However you want to pass, like Magic Johnson, you want it in a podcast, you want it in an album, you want it in a movie, you want it in the music, you want it in however you want to get your entryway into some dope stuff in general. Even if you just want some dope stuff to consume, some dope content. Mr. C-N.I.L.E, Carl Bellamy on Facebook. What's your Instagram, bro?
Instagram is Mr. C-N.I.L.E on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok as well. Mr. C-N.I.L.E. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
so,
if you
I'm on TikTok
make a TikTok to one of my songs. Yo, I got some songs on TikTok.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely,
about to roll out my TikTok campaign.
You know what?
I'm gonna reach out.
I've been on TikTok. I do a little inspirational saying, but I try not to be on there a whole lot because it's a whole lot of thirsty old people on there, right? So I got to kind of gauge what I put up there. Yeah, man. Look, TikTok is entertaining for me, but it's also interesting. TikTok is one of the places that you can actually find out a lot of stuff that they pull off the internet. You know what I'm saying? They put a lot of stuff up there, man. So I stay on TikTok a lot.
Search on the music though. I ain't really do nothing with my own personal page, but I know I got some songs up there. Like, so if you search underneath the artists and songs and search, I got some songs up there. So yo, I'm doing a TikTok challenge. Yo, anybody out there listening, watching, yo, make a funny TikTok or a dope TikTok, whatever. To any of my songs up there, yo.
I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have some fun.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have some fun with TikTok and do that.
I'm giving away some Amazon gift cards. I'm giving away food stamps and all. No, but you know what I mean? Yo, Mr. C-N.I.L.E, yo, I love you, bro. Everybody, each and every subscriber. We still live on the WRF Radio app. Don't forget to download the WRF Radio app if you don't want to miss a minute. Because we was live for a minute before we went live on that. Shout out to my Twitch. We got like one person watching on Twitch. Shout out to Twitch. We over there. Subscribe to YouTube. We going live over there too. You know what I mean? So buzz in. You know what I'm saying? Buzz in with us. And that's what it is, man. Salute to Mr. C-N.I.L.E, yo, Mr. Plaques on the wall, yo. I wish you more plaques and more success, my brother. Peace.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm banging this track out now. I'm about to start something else up. Gotta finish it up.
Let's get a little sample of that. Let us get a little sample to close it out real quick.
Okay. There you go.
That's it. That's it. That's all they get. We out of here. Get up with Greg Bugsy, yo. Each and every weekday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Right before DJ Diamond K in the morning. WRF Radio. We out.